Eddie. Your lens cap is on.
That was all right.
Professional.
It's not an Irish cameraman you got, is it?
He's been hitting the after race bar too much already.
UCI president? Yeah, that's what it says down there.
Who's this guy?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Jason Sumner with VelaNews.com television, and we're here today with Pat McQuaid, the president of the UCI. Pat, first of all, I just want to, your comments on what happened yesterday and where does cycling go from here?
Cycling goes forward from here. What happened yesterday was something which we've known about for several weeks now. We've known about this affair. I've been dealing with the minister in Spain and with the authorities in Spain, waiting for the information, waiting for the judge to lift the secrecy on the information so that we could act on it. We got it on Thursday night at 10 o'clock. We got the dossier and we studied it yesterday morning. Saw that there were a certain number of riders who were engaged to ride a tour that were implicated in this affair. We informed the teams, and the teams took the decision on their code of ethics that those riders will not start, and that's what happened. It's a big hit for the Tour de France. It's a big hit for cycling, but it's something we can go forward from. You got to bear in mind that we have the strongest rules and regulations and control of any international sport. Every other sport, they wait until an athlete is proven guilty before they take him out of the sport. Here in cycling, we have a situation because of the code of ethics of the Pro Tour, the UCI Pro Tour, where if an athlete is just implicated in the doping affair, or his A sample is positive, he's taken out of the sport until such time as the affair is finished. And we're the only sport that does that. Also, you got to look at in the UCI Pro Tour, you have some 600 riders. 20 teams, 30 riders per team. In total, involved in this situation, there's 50 odd riders, of whom 30 are in the UCI Pro Tour. So it's a very small number. You got to put things in perspective a little bit. It's a small number, albeit there are one or two big riders involved. That's no doubt Basso and Ulrich. But in perspective, it's a small number of the total riders involved at the highest level in cycling. So it's not as if it's a huge, rampant usage of the doping process or doping. And remember that this particular aspect of doping is something that does not show up in the controls, because it's blood doping. It's going back to the old-fashioned blood doping of Lassivieren, I think, what was it, the 1972 Olympic Games or something like that. It's that old-fashioned system which they're reintroducing. It doesn't show up in the doping controls, so you've got to use other methods to try and bring it forward, and those methods are using the police to investigate, and that's what happened here.
Can you characterize at all what was in that dossier? What was the actual information that led to the ejection of the riders that were expelled from the race?
Well, it was the dossier was in Spanish, and I don't read Spanish, but our lawyer did. And from what I can gather, again, as I haven't had time to sit down, and because we've been under so much pressure yesterday to, number one, get the list of riders that were involved in the tour and study the dossier and Istana, to really sit down and discuss what the elements were. But from what I can gather, it was blood transfusion, blood being taken away from the athlete, blood being then washed or being oxygenated, whatever it was. I don't know the pharmaceutical procedures, whatever, and then transfused into the athlete at the time or just prior to an event, something along those lines. I'm not sure exactly, but it wasn't just blood. I think the blood was treated with certain additives, such as elements of EPO or elements of human growth hormone and things like that. I mean, it's quite a cocktail of stuff, and it's a very, very dangerous procedure, and it's very good. I'm very pleased that the whole thing has been, from that point of view, has been caught and has been brought under justice, and that the people involved, the people really implicated in this, who are the doctors and the pharmaceutists involved in this, will eventually go to trial and possibly spend some time behind bars, because it is in Spain, and the only laws in Spain currently which allow the justice to do something like this are laws against public health. So they're going after these guys on the basis of public health, because the lab or the clinic they were using and the way they were dealing with the blood and so forth wasn't as you would find in a proper blood transfusion service, or a proper, where there are proper protocols and proper administration and proper controls and all that type of thing. It was a lot less than that, and so under those laws that they're going after these guys.
What finally broke as far as what happened was Istana. That seemed to be up in the air until late last night.
It was, and Istana took what to me is a very, very brave decision to decide not to ride the tour. They could have ridden the tour. They had a situation where 6 or 7, or I'm not sure the exact number, of their riders were implicated in this affair. One or two of them were very, very loosely implicated. In other words, it couldn't really be proven whether they were involved or not. And they could have actually started the race. They decided not to do so because what the decision the management has taken of the team is that it would be best, I think, for the team to stop racing as of now, clean out the team, and then come back and try and prove to the Licence Commission of the UCI, which is an independent organism completely, try and prove to them that they are honourable and correct, and that there's a new management in the team that wishes to go forward in a proper way. And I think that's what it is. It was a brave decision to do it, and I think probably a correct decision, because otherwise I think that's what they need to do. They need to clean the whole thing out and be able to say, well, that was the old management, that's what they did, we don't do that, we're in a completely different vein, we're building a team around Vinokurov and we want it to be proper and correct and so forth. And it's a bit like what Cofidis did a couple of years ago. They stopped racing for 2 months and completely cleaned out the bad eggs from the team, and then started up again.
You think we've seen the last of doping controversies at this tour?
At this tour, I think yes. In cycling, I would hope yes. I don't know. Like sport, I mean, and I think you also got to put in perspective that this particular affair is not a cycling affair; it's a sports affair. This is a sports problem. It's not just cyclists that are involved in this affair. There are football. I've been told there are footballers, athletes, basketball players, tennis players. And in time their names will come out, and some of them are quite big names. The reason cyclists have come out, and the reason we've got these 50 cyclists, is that we, the UCI, and along with the French authorities, put huge pressure on the Spanish authorities to get these named to us before the Tour de France, so that we could deal with them and get them out of the Tour de France. And that's how this has happened. But as the judge goes through his investigation, as he deals more and more with the workings of this laboratory and this doctor, you'll find that there are other sports involved. So when you say is it the last, I don't think it's the last doping affair cycling will ever have. It maybe the last of this type. Doping is a problem of society, is a problem of sport, and it's a problem we have to deal with. Not just the international federations, but governments, judicial or police authorities, everybody.
Okay, that's Pat McQuaid with the UCI.
That's me, gentlemen. Yes.
Yeah.